Imagine humanity finally makes contact with an alien civilization tomorrow. Most people picture something familiar. Maybe they're a few hundred years ahead of us. Maybe a few thousand. Their computers are faster. Their ships are better. Their medicine is more advanced. But what if that's completely wrong? What if we're thinking far too small? What if the average alien civilization isn't thousands of years older than humanity? What if it's millions of years older? Or hundreds of millions? Or even billions? Suddenly the entire universe feels different. Because when we imagine aliens, we often imagine versions of ourselves. Creatures that are still building, exploring, and discovering. But the universe is incredibly old. The Earth formed about 4.5 billion years ago. The universe itself is nearly 14 billion years old, and many stars in our galaxy are far older than the Sun. Some formed billions of years before Earth even existed, which means that if intelligent life appeared around those stars, it may have had an unimaginable head start. Not centuries, not millennia, billions of years. Think about how much humanity has changed in just the last 200 years. 2 centuries ago, there were no airplanes, no computers, no internet, no satellites. Now we carry devices in our pockets that contain more information than entire ancient civilizations. If only 200 years can create such a dramatic difference, what happens after 1 million years? What happens after 100 million? What happens after a billion? At that point, we're no longer talking about a more advanced civilization. We're talking about something completely beyond our understanding. And that raises an uncomfortable question. If civilizations this old are possible, why don't we see them? Let's try an experiment. Imagine humanity survives for another 1,000 years. The world would be almost unrecognizable. Now imagine another 10,000. Entire nations would rise and disappear. Languages would evolve. Technology would transform beyond anything we can predict. Now push further. 1 million years. Modern humans have existed for only a fraction of that time. A civilization that survives for 1 million years would witness more history than we can easily comprehend. Now imagine 10 million years, 100 million years, the amount of time that separates us from the dinosaurs. Would such beings still look human? Would they even need bodies? Perhaps they would replace biology entirely. Perhaps they would upload their minds into machines. Perhaps they would become something closer to living software than living organisms. The farther we go into the future, the harder it becomes to imagine. And that's only after a tiny fraction of cosmic time. An alien civilization with a billion-year head start wouldn't just be advanced. It might appear supernatural. Its technology could seem like magic. Its intelligence could be beyond anything our brains evolved to understand. Just as a chimpanzee cannot understand quantum physics, perhaps humans cannot understand the goals, motivations, or technologies of truly ancient civilizations. We assume intelligence continues to build bigger structures, faster ships, and more powerful machines. But maybe that's just a phase. Maybe advanced civilizations eventually become something else entirely. Most searches for alien life make a simple assumption. If advanced civilizations exist, they should be visible. They should build enormous structures. They should send signals. They should leave traces. But what if truly advanced civilizations become less visible over time instead of more visible? Think about humanity's own technological progress. Our machines become smaller every year. Computers that once filled entire rooms now fit into our pockets. Technology tends to become more efficient, more compact, and harder to detect. An ancient civilization may not build giant monuments. It may not cover planets with cities. It may have learned to use resources with almost perfect efficiency. Perhaps it exists inside artificial worlds no larger than asteroids. Perhaps it operates vast simulations. Perhaps most of its activity happens in forms of matter and energy we barely understand. If a civilization survives for millions or billions of years, its priorities may become completely different from ours. Maybe exploration becomes unnecessary. Maybe expansion becomes meaningless. Maybe the civilization turns inward. Maybe it spends eternity creating realities more interesting than the physical universe itself. In that case, we wouldn't see starships crossing the galaxy. We wouldn't see giant alien empires. We would see nothing. Not because nobody is there, but because we're looking for the wrong signs. Imagine a tribe living deep inside a forest. They know only trees, rivers, animals, and the world immediately around them. One day a highway is built nearby. Cars race past at incredible speeds. Data travels through fiber optic cables. Satellites orbit overhead. Entire civilizations operate just beyond the tribe's awareness. Yet from their perspective, the forest remains unchanged. The modern world exists all around them, but they cannot perceive it. Now imagine humanity in the same position. Perhaps we are standing in a cosmic forest, looking around and declaring ourselves alone. Not because nobody else exists, but but because we lack the tools to recognize what is already there. Maybe ancient civilizations communicate using methods we haven't discovered. Maybe they manipulate dimensions we don't understand. Maybe their activities are hidden inside phenomena we consider natural. Perhaps the galaxy is filled with intelligence. We simply don't recognize it. An ant walking across a computer has no concept of the internet. A fish swimming through the ocean has no idea that satellites orbit above it. And humanity may be making the same mistake on a cosmic scale. There is another possibility, a possibility even stranger than ancient alien civilizations. What if humanity itself is one of the ancient civilizations? Not today, but eventually. Every civilization that survives long enough becomes ancient. Every species that endures accumulates knowledge beyond imagination. Perhaps somewhere in the distant future, humanity will spread across the stars. Millions of years will pass, then tens of millions, then hundreds of millions. The descendants of our species may become so different that they no longer resemble us. They may look back toward Earth the same way we look toward ancient fossils, as the distant origin of something much larger. And perhaps one day another young civilization will emerge around another star. They will look into the sky and wonder if they are alone. They will ask the same questions we ask today, and they may never realize that an ancient civilization has been watching for millions of years. The truth is that the universe is so old that our entire history occupies only a tiny fraction of a cosmic second. Humanity often feels ancient to us, but compared to the age of the cosmos, we are newborns. The dinosaurs ruled Earth for roughly 165 million years. Human civilization has existed for only a few thousand. Recorded history is barely a blink. If intelligent life arose elsewhere before us, it may have had enough time to become something beyond recognition. Something so old that words like advanced no longer make sense. And if that's true, then perhaps the greatest mistake we make when imagining aliens is imagining creatures from our future, because the civilizations we may eventually encounter could be something else entirely, not our future, but a past so ancient that our minds struggle to comprehend it. And somewhere out there, beneath an older sun than ours, there may be beings who watched worlds form, continents drift, species evolve, and civilizations rise and fall. Beings for whom humanity is not the beginning of the story, but merely the newest chapter.